Bruno Fernandes is an enigma. On the one hand, he's been one of, if not the, best signings made by Man United in the post-Sir Alex Ferguson era. On the other, he makes you want to pull your bloody hair out, and frankly speaking, I'm just about done with this shit. I've said this before and I'll say it again, when the likes of Fernandes and Rashford are your best players, you're in a world of trouble. Don't get me wrong, there's plenty of wankers at the club who make these two look like Zidane and Rivaldo in comparison, and it would be unfair to exclusively target them for where Man United find themselves today. But honestly, you haven't got a chance of hell in winning the Premier League if this pair are in your 11. When your talisman is as inconsistent as Bruno is, it should come as no surprise whatsoever that results fluctuate between wonderful and woeful. Not just between seasons, months or weeks, but even games. Obviously, he's a magnificent technician who's more than capable of producing a moment of magic at any given time, but therein lies the problem. As a Man United supporter, I don't want just a flash in the pan. Stability is the name of the game, and that's a word you'll never ever associate with Bruno. Stylistically, he's chaotic and ragged, which means for every eye of the needle through ball he picks out, he'll lose possession half a dozen times. This is precisely why United aren't able to control games. I mean seriously, the bloke permanently plays as though his side are in stoppage time chasing an equalizer. Obviously, this worked well under Oli, when United were happy to sit back, soak up pressure, and hit the opposition on the break with Bruno further upfield. But that's not how big teams play. It's no coincidence whatsoever that Sporting did well in cup competitions while Bruno was around, but only won the league once he fucked off. It's why the likes of Klopp and Pep wouldn't touch him with a barge pole. In addition to all of this, his constant diving, bitching, moaning, and general histrionics aren't what you'd associate with a Manchester United captain. For better or worse, he's the leader of the pack, and many of his teammates approach proceedings in his image, especially given much of the squad is full of impressionable youngsters who'll often look to the man with the armband for inspiration. I'm okay with showing a bit of anger and passion on the pitch, but this guy throws his toys out the pram and is unable to keep a lid on his emotions thereafter. He spends half the game man-marking referees, who more often than not just book him when he starts to get on their tits. Going back to when Bruno arrived midway through the 2019-20 season, it's fair to say his first year and a half at United was breathtaking. He won the Sir Matt Busby Player of the Year award twice in a row, and was even a part of the PFA Team of the Year for the 2020-21 season. However, what's followed thereafter has been, to put it mildly, a mixed bag. And he's still living off that early promise to this day. He's won the Premier League Player of the Month on 4 occasions, and the fact that all of them were awarded in the calendar year 2020 speaks volumes. In this ongoing campaign, he has 5 goals and 5 assists in 26 appearances. Now, midfielders obviously shouldn't be judged on stats alone, with the case in point being the likes of Xavi and Iniesta, but ultimately, when you have little else to offer aside from end product, it really does become the be-all and end-all. Obviously, some of that boils down to his teammates, who couldn't score in a fucking brothel right now, but that doesn't excuse his general performance level. Believe it or not, this crazy bastard has 9 yellow cards to his name halfway through the season, which, aside from being almost as many as the number of goals and assists he's registered put together, is unheard of for a number 10. The worst part about this is, most of the bookings were for dissent. Moving on to statistics, Bruno's pass completion, progressive carries, successful take-ons, and touches are bottom of the barrel when compared to other attacking midfielders across Europe's top 5 leagues. Certain sections of the fanbase claim it's because he's been played out of position, which is absolute and utter bollocks. He's been used wide right thrice all year, which, when compared to the rest of his career displayed on screen, is inconsequential. Another thing to note with Bruno is that he goes completely missing in big games. I struggle to think of any standout performances versus top-tier opposition since he arrived at Old Trafford, and I'd go as far as to say United would have probably lost at Anfield if he wasn't suspended for the tie, considering the compact midfield shape which helped keep a clean sheet would have been all over the fucking place with his presence. Even for Portugal, his 19 goals have come against the following opposition: Algeria, Luxembourg, Israel, Qatar, North Macedonia, Czech Republic, Nigeria, Uruguay, Bosnia, Slovakia, and Iceland. Ultimately, you can only beat what's in front of you, but if that isn't stat padding, I don't know what the fuck is. To his credit, Bruno never gets injured, gives 100% in terms of work rate, and never shirks away from responsibility. On top of that, he comes across as a really likable bloke off the pitch too. He's obsessed with the sport, has a beautiful family, isn't afraid to speak his mind in interviews, and seems like he genuinely appreciates how fortunate he is to be in the position that he finds himself. Unfortunately though, ticking those particular boxes isn't the prerequisite to be Man United's main man. And while I'll obviously be hoping he produces the goods while he remains at the club, I can't wait till he's sold so that we can work towards becoming a cohesive and well-functioning unit again. Make sure to check out my take on Rashford if you're new to my channel. Let me know what you make of this particular video and Bruno Fernandes in general, and I'll catch you in the next one, folks. Peace.